Good evening, my dear students. So this is the last session. This is the last session of today's placement training. So I welcome you all. So let's get on to the today's session. So we are going to start with the programming language. Okay. First, we are going to start with the programming language. First, we need to know what do you mean by programming language. Okay. So programming language it is nothing but it is a defined set of instructions which are compiled together to perform the specific task by the CPU or the central processing unit. The programming language examples are the C, C++, Pascal, Ada, and the COBOL. Okay. So there are different types of programming languages. Okay, the programming languages differ by their different keywords and different syntax. Okay, which is used for the to create the instructions. Okay, so based on the levels of the abstraction, I'm repeating once again because this is an important one. Based on the levels of abstraction, the programming languages are classified into low level and the high level programming language. Okay, that is the low level and the high level programming language. So first, then we need to know what do you mean by a programming language. So here, this diagram shows about the hierarchy or the level of abstraction. Okay, a level of abstraction means, as you can see, the hardware part it is very nearer to the machine language. Okay, that means in the machine language will be directly it will be used by the hardware to perform the set of tasks. Okay, to perform the specific tasks. But if you consider as an assembly language, it is a bit far away from the hardware. So you need an assembler to run this assembly code. Okay, but after this there comes the high level languages. So high level languages like examples are here, that is C, C++, Java. They will be needing some compilers. Okay, those compilers, what they will do, they will convert those all the code into the machine level languages. Okay, then then machine language will be used by the hardware to compute the specific task. So this is about the hierarchy of the programming languages. So first we should know what do you mean by low level languages. So low level languages, it is a programming language that provides no abstraction from the hardware. Okay, there will be no abstraction from the hardware. Means here you can see as an example, low level languages like a machine level language, there will be no abstraction between them. Okay, so low level languages, they provide no abstraction from the hardware, and it is represented by the 0 and the 1 forms. Okay, the language that comes under this category are called as a machine level language. Okay, and also assembly level language. So in the low level languages, here you can see these two, assembly language and the machine level language, are called as an low level languages. Okay, so the machine level language will be is also called as an low level language, and assembly language also is called as a low level language. Okay, because machine level language means it consists of zeros and ones, and in this assembly language, okay, we need to convert that assembly language into machine level language through the assembler. Okay, so next we should know about the high level languages, or the next machine level languages. So machine level language means it consists of the set of instructions which are represented in the 0 and 1 forms. Okay, which is represented in the 0 and 1 forms. Creating a program in the machine level language will be a difficult task, as explained in the previous session. So since it is a difficult task, then there are chances of doing more errors in the programs. For writing a simple programs, we will be doing more errors. That's why this machine level language will not used nowadays. Okay, so and it is also not portable. Means if I write a program to run a small program in the system, okay, then that the same program same machine level language I cannot run in the mobile also, because the hardware of the mobile and the hardware of the system differs from each other. That's why whatever I write the program in the machine level, I cannot in the system, that same program I cannot run in the mobile. That is nothing but the portability. Okay, that is about the machine level languages. Next one is about the assembly level languages. So assembly language means it has some human readable commands like move, add, subtract, sub. Okay, so the problem we'll be facing is the problems which you are facing in the machine level language are reduced to some extent. Okay, reduced to some extent means that will be reduced because we'll be using these keywords, that is a move, add, and sub. Okay, since assembly language instructions are written in the English language, so it will be easier to write and understand. Okay, that means with the errors framed from this programming language will be a bit less compared to the framing of the program in the machine level languages. Okay, as you know that computers can only understand the machine level language, so we require a translator. Okay, to convert the assembly level language into machine level language, we need a translator. That translator is called as an assembler. Okay, so the assembly language, it is not portable because the data is stored in the computer registers. Okay, for example, the program that is written in the CPU or the program that is written in the laptop, that cannot, the state assembly level language program that cannot run in the mobile. Okay, that is the meaning of the portability. Same way, in the machine level languages or the low level languages are completely importable with each, there are not portability. Okay, next one is about the high level languages. So high level languages, they allow the programmer to write the programs which are independent of a particular type of the computer. Means whatever the program you write, that can be run in your laptop, that can be run in your system, that can be run in your mobile phones. Okay, that is nothing but the high level languages. Means and also it requires a compiler. It is not for assembly language, it needs an assembler. For the high level languages, it will be needing a compiler to convert the high level languages to the low level languages. Okay, so this advantages of the advantages of the high level languages are, it is easy to read, write, and maintain the code because it is written in the common English words. Okay, so this high level languages which are designed to overcome the limitations of the low level languages, that is nothing but the portability. Okay, so here they have given some differences between the machine level language and the assembly level language. Okay, so machine language, it comes at the lowest level in the hierarchy. Okay, as I've shown in the hierarchy, it comes at the lowest level. This assembly languages comes at the higher level. Okay, then it cannot be easily understood by the humans, machine level language, but assembly language, it can be understood. Okay, because it consists of the keywords like move, add, sub, like that way. Okay, so machine level language only contains zeros and ones, but in the assembly language consists of the simple English language words. Okay, then it does not require a translator, machine level language, but assembly language will be need an assembler to convert the assembly language into low level or machine level languages. Okay, this machine level language, it is a first generation programming language, whereas this assembly language is a second generation programming language. Means there are totally 5 different generations of the computer. According to the generations, at the first generation, we used to use the machine level language, and the second generation we are using the assembly level languages. So next we will know that we will we'll have a slight look into the difference between the low level language and the high level language. So low level language, it is a machine friendly, but it is difficult to understand for the user. But high level language is user friendly, but we need an compiler to convert the high level language into low level language. So it takes more time to execute low level language, but high level language is faster. It executes in a faster way. This low level language, it requires an assembler to convert the assembly code into machine code, but high level language, it needs a compiler. This machine code, it cannot run on all the machines. It is not portable in nature, but this high level language is portable in nature. Means whatever the code you are written for a simple laptop, that can be run in the mobile phone also. Okay, this low level language, it is a machine, it is memory efficient, but high level language is less memory efficient. Means it uses less memory, or it uses it uses the less memory, but high level languages use the more memory, more than it requires. Okay, debugging and maintenance will not easier here in the low level languages, but high level languages is very easy in the debugging and the maintenance. So next, this is an important part of the C programming, that is C expressions. Okay, here you can see there is a C expression. It is mainly composed of the operands. Okay, operands will be linked with each other with the operators. Okay, then this whole thing, if you evaluate, you will get some value. An operand can be a function, reference, a variable. It can be an array element or a constant. Here is an example. This A and B. Okay, A and B are called as two operands. A and B are two operands. This minus is it is an character, or it is a operator. Okay, minus is an operator. A and B are the operands. Okay, so there are, in the C language, there are mainly 4 types of expressions. Okay, first one is an arithmetic, second one is a relational, third one is the logic, fourth one is the conditional. Okay, so each type of expression contains certain different types of the operands and uses a specific set of the operators. Okay, evaluation of a particular expression produces a specific value. Okay, if you value something, it will generate some value. Okay, the entire above line in a statement, it is not an expression. The portion after the equal is an expression. Okay, here you can see this whole thing, x is equal to 9 by 2 plus a minus b, it is not an expression. Okay, but this at the after equal to on the right side, 9 by 2 plus a minus b, this becomes an expression. Okay, so here they have given a small diagrammatic representation of the different types of expressions: arithmetic, relational, logical, and the conditional. Okay, so next one, so next we look at each of these operators expressions. Okay, first we look into the arithmetic expression. So an arithmetic expression, it is an expression that consists of an operands and the arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. Okay, those are the arithmetic operators. We can use the arithmetic expression which computes a value, which it can be of a type. It can be of a type int, float, or a double. Okay, when an expression contains an integral operands, then it is known as a pure integer expression. When it contains only real operands, it is known as a pure real expression. And when it contains both integral and real operands, it is known as a mixed mode expression. Means real means, for example, if I take as 2 plus 3, you can see that it is a pure integer expression. Okay, if I take 2.5 plus 3, that becomes 2.5 plus 3.5, that becomes an pure real expression. If I take 2 plus 3.5, okay, if I take 2 plus 3.5, if I take 2 plus 3, then this is an real pure integer expression. If I take 2.5 plus 3.5, then this will be called as an pure real expression. If I take 2 plus 3.5, then this becomes a mixed mode expression, like this way. This is an example. So next one is the evaluation. So how are we gonna compute? How are we gonna compute the expression? The expressions are evaluated by performing one operation at a time. The precedence and associativity of the operators descend on the order of the evaluation of the individual operations. Okay. So when individual operations are performed, the following cases can be happen. Okay, these are the different cases that may happen. When both operands are of an integer type, then the arithmetic will be performed, and the result of the operation will be an integer value only. Okay, if both the operands means first one is also of an int type, second one is also of the int type. If I take as an plus, then this result will be also an integer type only. Okay, then when the both operands are of float type, float means it is nothing but the decimal point numbers. If both, let me take an example here. You can see if both the numbers are decimal point numbers, then the answer will be a decimal point only. Then the third one, if there is a mixed one, that is a 6 by 2.0. Okay, one is an int and second one is a float. One is an int, second one is a float here. So the answer will be a float only. Okay, this is an individual operations performed in the different cases. What happens? Okay, so next one, here is an example. Okay, here is an example. So I want you guys to tell me the answer. I'll wait for a minute. I want you guys to tell me the answer. You can type in the chat box. You can type in the chat box. I want to know what will the answer for this expression. You guys can, I will wait for 10 seconds. You can write the answer. What is the answer for this expression? If you evaluate all these things, what will be the answer? Yes, I think everyone is present. Can you guys tell me what will the answer? Okay, let's move on it. Okay, the answer will be 17. Yes, the answer will be 17. So how it will evaluate to 17? So this is an expression. This is an given expression. So here, what are we doing here? The precedence says that first when we need to look into the in the brackets, what will be the expression? Okay, first we need to look into the brackets. Okay, if there here you can see there are two brackets. This is the first bracket and this one is the second bracket. Okay, in your interview they will be asking this question and you need to evaluate they will ask evaluate the expression, and they will give this expression. Then they will give the options, okay, like 17, 15, 10, -1, like that. You need to evaluate and you need to tick the right answer, okay, in the aptitude test. So first there are there are two parts in the that exist that sorry there will be two parts in there are two parts with the brackets in the expression. That is this one is first part, this one is the second part. So as you can know, as you already know, that from it always starts from left to right. Okay, if there exist two brackets, there the evaluation starts from left to right. So first what we will do, you will evaluate 1 into 2. Okay, from the left to right. Here you can see from the left to right, the first star or it will check whether there is a star or a slash. Okay, for this, if you don't know what is the precedence, you can there is a rule called as an BODMAS rule, BODMAS, BODMAS rule. Okay, B means brackets, O means off, D means division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Okay, it will start from the left. Okay, if you start from the left, within the bracket, if you start from the left, first is then expression, that is a star. So star will be evaluated. That answer is placed here. Okay, next this will be evaluated, that is 0, that will be placed here. 2 by 3 is 0, that is placed here. Next this whole bracket expression will be evaluated, that answer is placed here. Next, after this, the next it will go for the next bracket. It will go for the next bracket. So next bracket is 8 by 4, that will be evaluated. Next after this is an expression. Now we will go for the from the left to right. Okay, from left to right. First, according to BODMAS rule, first is multiplication. So first the multiplication will be evaluated, that is 6 into 2, 12. 12 by 8 plus 8 into 2. Next is 12 by 8. 12 by 8 is 1. So here you can see this is an integer part. This is also an integer part. Actually, the answer will come 8.5 like that. Sorry, 1.5 like that. But that 0.5 answer will be truncated. Okay, that will be removed. So the answer will be 1. So 1 plus 8 into 2. So if you look at the plus and star, the precedence has the star only. Star has more precedence. Okay. So first 8 into 2 will be evaluated. Then the answer comes to 17. Okay. Like this way, the expression will be evaluated. So next, we will look into the relational expressions. So relational expression, it is an expression used to compare the two operands. So what we will do here, we are going to compare the two operands. Okay. It is a condition which is used to decide whether the action should be taken or not. So what is the action that needs to be taken? We are going to check. Okay. It is just like your if-else statement. In relational expression, a numeric value cannot be compared with the string value. Okay. It is like 1 cannot be compared with A. Okay. 1, I cannot, whether 1 is less than or equal to A, whether A is greater than or equal to 1, because here this one is a string and this one is an number. Okay. We cannot do that. In C programming, we cannot do it. Okay. Next one is the result of the relational expression can be either 0 or non-zero value. Here the 0 value is equivalent to a false. Okay. Non-zero means it is a true. Okay. So this is about the relational operator. So here you can see double equal to x mod 2 double equal to 0. Okay. X mod 2 means x mod. This is not in percentage. This is mod. Mod means it will when x is divided by 2, what will be the remainder? When x is divided by 2, okay, what will the remainder? This remainder, it is placed here. Okay, that will be placed here. This condition is used to check whether the number is even or not. Means if the number is divisible by 2, then the number is even. If the number is not divisible by 2, then it is an odd number. So how will check? If there is an even number, if the number is 4, okay, if 2 is divided by 4, the remainder will be 0. If 0 double equal to 0 means what? This condition becomes true. Then this is 4 is an even number. If I take another number 5, okay, if I divide 5 by 2, the remainder is 1. Here the answer will be 1. So 1 double equal to 0. If any number is not, if it will check for the both sides. If both the sides are not equal, then it will be evaluated to false. Then what we will do? Then the number is this 5 number. This one is an odd. Okay. The relational expression results the value 1 if x is an even number. Otherwise, results is a value in a value 0. A is not equal to B means we'll check whether the A is equal to B or A is not equal to B. Okay. The relational expression results is 1 if A is not equal to B, otherwise 0. Okay. If this is true, then the value will be 1. If this is false, value will be 0. a plus b double equal to x plus 5 means first we will add these numbers, then we will check the whether both sides are equal or not. Okay. Next one is a is greater than or equal to 9. It is used to check whether the value of a is greater than or equal to 9. Okay. Here you will be confusing. In the previous slide, I say that a is less than or greater than. If a is there is an character. Okay. This is an variable. Okay. Variable means it is an value. It is an address where the value is stored. Okay. Whatever the value stored in the a, that will be compared with the 9. Okay. That is the meaning of this. So next, here is a simple program which I have previously told. That is x is mod equal x mod 2 is double equals 0. We will print the number is even. If it is not, then we will print the number is not even or number is odd. Next one is we look into the logical expression. Okay, logical expression means it will compute either 0 or a non-zero value. It is a complex test condition to take a decision. So here you can see this and. Okay, so you already learned the AND gate, nor OR gate. Okay, those things are used here. Okay, AND means what? What is the condition here? And according to AND gate, both the side, if it is true when both the side is true. Okay, if this side and this side is true, that is the answer will be true. OR gate means it is represented like this way. Okay, it will be represented in double bars. That is OR. If according to this, if both side is false, then only this becomes false. If any one side is true, this becomes true. If both side is false, then the OR will become false. We will be using this one, that one here. Okay. So next, we look into the program. Okay, here is a small program. X is equal to 4, Y is equal to 10. Okay, X means what? X value is 4. So 4 is less than 10. Condition is true. So answer is 1 here. Okay, answer is true. Okay, Y is equal to 10. 10 is greater than 5. Whether 10 is greater than 5, condition is true. So true and true, this whole things becomes true. Okay, so the condition is, so if condition means we will get on to this statement, and this statement is printed here. Okay, these are the simple examples I'm telling. Okay, I will be giving you the questions. Okay, in the last I will be giving the different expression questions. That will be a bit tougher one. Okay, these are simple examples. 4 is less than 6. Condition is true. This side becomes true. Okay, then the y is equal to 9. 9 is greater than 10. Okay, whether 9 is greater than 10, condition false. True and false means this becomes true. This is an OR. Okay, so according to the OR, both the side has to be false in order to this whole condition to be false. Okay, so if any one side is true, then this will be computed as a true. So the condition will be true. This will be printed in the output of the program. Okay. So next one is the conditional expressions. So a conditional expression means it is an expression that returns. It is an expression that returns 1 if the condition is true, otherwise 0. So it is nothing but it is represented by a ternary operator. Ternary means it involves 3 operands. Okay, expression 1, expression 2, and expression 3 are 3. The syntax of conditional operator will be like this: expression 1 question mark, expression 2 or expression 3. If expression 1 is true, expression 2 will be executed. If the expression 1 is false, expression 3 will be executed. Okay. So next one, we look into the small program. Okay, that is a ternary expression. So age is equal to 25. So age is a 25. Okay, so here you can see age is 25. So 25 is greater than 22. Whether 25 is greater than 22, the condition is true. So the condition true means whatever is there before the colon, this value will be assigned to the status. Okay, this value will be assigned to the status. If the value is 35, sorry, if the value is a 20, age is value is 20 means 20 is greater than 22, then the condition becomes false. Then this value, it will be evaluated and it will be placed to the status. Then this status value will be verified with the next one. That is whether it is equal to M. M means married or else unmarried. In this program, since age is 25, 25 is greater than 22, condition is true. M will be placed in the status. So M, whether M is double equal to M, condition is true here. So this part will be executed and this part will be skipped, else part will be skipped. Okay, this is the small program. So next one is the data segments. So data segments means to understand our C program, how the C program works, we need to understand the arrangement of the memory assigned to our program. So memory assignment means what are the things, how the memory will be located in the CPU, in your memory, how the memory will be allocated when you write a program. Okay, all the variables, functions, and data structures are allocated memory into a special memory segment called as a data segment. The data segment is mainly divided into 4 different parts. Okay, that is defined in the next slide. That is the data area, code area, heap area, initialized variable, and non-initialized variable. Data area means whatever the values, x is equal to 4, 5, whatever the values is there, that will be placed here. Code area means whatever the code you write, like printf, scanf, whatever the code here, that will be placed here. Then the heap area. Heap area means this consists of the initialization of the variable, then the non-initialization of the variable. Okay, this heap area will be used when we call a function. Okay, that is about the data segments. Okay, data segments that have been explained in detail here. So data segments, it is a permanent memory area. All static and external variables are stored in this data area. The variables which are stored in the data area exist until the program exists. Okay, code area means it consists of the memory. It is a memory area which is used to by the function pointers. The size of the code area will be fixed. Okay, heap area means since the C supports the dynamic memory allocation like calloc, malloc, and realloc. So those memories are dynamically allocated in the heap area. Therefore, the heap area is used to store the data structures which are created by using the dynamic memory allocation. Okay. Next one is a stack area. So stack area is divided into 2 parts. That is, the first one is initialization, non-initialization. Initialization variable means there is variables are stored. Non-initialization means it is just like a dummy memory. All the automatic variables get memory into the stack area. Constants in C get stored in the stack area. All the local variables on the default storage class will be stored in the stack area. Functional parameters, return values are also will be stored in the stack area. Whatever the temporary memory area will be there, that will be stored in the stack area. So here you can see automatic variables, constants, local variables, functions, that all or temporary variable memory that all be stored in the stack area. Okay, this is an important part, stack area. Most of the questions during the technical interview will be concentrated on this part only. Okay, that is the stack area. What are the things that the stack area contains? Okay. Next one, we need to concentrate on the flow of the C program. So what happens when you write the C program, how it will be compared to the machine level language, how it will be converted into machine level language, that we'll look into it. Here you can see there is a small program that says that prints that hello C language. Okay. So first in the IDE or editor. Okay, editor means it can be a notepad, it can be Sublime Text, it can be anything. Okay, so what you will do, there you will write an C program. Okay, that will be in a .c format. Okay, then what we will do, we will send that program into preprocessor. That preprocessor, what it will do, it will include all those headers and C programs that will be it will include all those headers and source codes, and it will be sent to the compiler. Okay, all the files, that is the header files, will be included here, replaced with the symbols, and it will be placed in the compiler. This compiler, what it will do, after compiler compiles the .c program, please concentrate here, the .c program will be converted into .obj or .o, that is the object code, by the compiler. Okay, whatever I'm saying, please concentrate on that part, because that part is where the entry question will be concentrated. Okay, where .c program will be converted to the object code by the compiler. Okay, then the linker, what would the linker will do, the static libraries will be linked, and it will convert the obj file into an .exe file, executable code. Okay, then the loader, what it will do, it will load the .exe file into the CPU. Then the CPU will run that code and it will produce the output. Please concentrate, whatever the code you write, simple program, whatever the program you write, that program will be converted to the obj object file by the compiler. Then that file will be converted into executable file by the linker. Then that file will be run by the CPU with help of the loader. Loader will load the program into the CPU and it will run and it will produce the output. Okay. So next is this is the explanation of whatever I just said now. Okay. So enum C. Enum C is also called as an enumerator type. Okay. Enum C is also called as an enumerator type. It is a user-defined data type. It consists of the integer values and it provides the meaningful names to these values. Okay. If here is a small example. That is the enum flag, integer constant 1, integer constant 2, or integer to constant n. Okay, if you don't get this through the example, I'll be explaining here in the next slide. We create the enum of type status, okay, as shown below. So I'm creating enum with the status. Okay, what are the values that status can take? It can take either false or it can either take true. Okay, if I declare the variable, I'm going to declare the variable enum status yes. Okay, so yes means yes can take the value either as false or it can take either the value as true. Other than this, it cannot take any other values. Okay, that is the meaning of this. Okay, so here is a small example. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating an enum. Okay, enum. There is a weekdays. Okay, weekdays means I'm assigning Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, there are number of days in a week. Then I'm the first variable I'm assigning value 1. Okay, if I try to print the next value, that is a Monday. Okay, that Monday means what? This value will be incremented by 1. That is the Monday value will be 2. Next, Tuesday means it will be incremented by 1 again. Next, it will be incremented by 1 again. Like that way, it will be incremented. Okay, like that way, it will be incremented. Then if you try to print the W, if I say assign as Monday, if I use the value as Monday and I would try to print the W value, then the value printed will be 1. Oh, sorry, the value will be printed will be 2. Okay, because value 1 will be assigned. So the value gets incremented and value 2 will be printed. So, okay, now the question starts. Okay, so please everyone concentrate here. So, which of the following operators take only the integer operands? You can type in the chat box. I will wait for 10 seconds. Please type in the chat box. What are the which of the following operators takes only integer operands? Only integer. Yes. Yes, Anusha. Nice one. Nice. Good, Anusha. Only the fourth one. Mod is the operation where it does only takes the only positive. Okay. Star is the only mod is the only operator that takes both the side of the mod should be integer. Okay, let me take an example. 2 mod 3. There can be 2 mod 3. They cannot be 3 mod 1.5. If you write this, this is an error. Okay, that's why mod is the only operator that takes only integers. Okay, so next we'll go to the next question. So here the value of x is 2, y is equal to 0. Okay, here the what I'm doing here for the z, I'm assigning the value y plus plus, then comma y. Then what will be the output? What will be the output? Can anyone guess? What will be the output? In the bracket y plus plus comma y. I'll wait for 10 seconds. Yes, Mahalakshmi. Nice one. Nice attempt. What about others? This is the type of the questions in the aptitude exam of the campus will come. These are the type of the questions you can expect. This is the level of difficulty that you can expect. Either 0, 1 or undefined behavior or in compilation error. Okay, let's get down to this one. Actually, the answer is 1. Okay, the answer is 1B. Why B? Okay, so here you can see y plus plus. Y value is 0. Y is incremented to 1. So y is incremented to 1. Okay, so here after 1 comma 0, after value is y is incremented, y 1 comma 0. So it will compare these values and whatever the value is there, first value that will be assigned to the z in the bracket. If anyone uses the values in the bracket, whatever the value that is there in the first one, that will be assigned to the z. So 1 will be saved. Okay, the value of z will be 1. Okay. So let's get back to the second one. So here you can see next one x is value is 2, y is equal to 0. Okay, so y plus plus question mark 2 colon y double equal to 1 and x. So what will the answer? I will wait for 5 seconds. Okay, I will get on to the answer. Since the time is very less, the value will is 1. Z will, one value will be assigned. Y means this whole value is 1. Okay, this whole value is 1. Okay, so 1 means one question mark. One question mark means, okay, one question mark means 1. Value of 1 means true. Okay, true. After this 2, 2 value will be placed in the Z. Okay, 2 value will be placed in the Z. Oh, sorry, 2 value will be placed. So the value of Z will be 2. It is D, 2, 2. Okay, sorry about it. When the when value is incremented 1, so this becomes a 1. This whole thing becomes a 1. Then when this becomes 1, the true part, the 2 will be assigned to Z. So 2 will be saved. 2 is answer for the Z. So next one, this one. X is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, y and y or equal to 10. What will the answer? So y or equal to means you can this is called as a shorthand operator, that you can expand it to y or 10. Okay, if you concentrate on this, y value is 0, 0 or 10 means 0, 0 other than 0, whatever the value will be, that will be considered as the true. 0 means false, whatever the values that comes after, whatever the values that will be there, that may be there, that will be considered as the true. So false and true means, or means true. Okay, so this is a true. Okay, value of y is 0, so this is 0 means false. So true and false means answer will be false, because it is an AND operator. So answer will be false. So false will be saved. Nothing but the 0 will be saved in the Z. So 0 will be saved. Okay. This is about. Okay, nice, Anusha. Anusha, you answered correctly. Yes, nice. So next one, int y is equal to 2. Z is equal to y plus y is equal to 10. What will the answer? Y is equal to 10. Yes, come on, guys, hurry up. Yes, nice try, Anusha. So y is equal to 10 means, as I already told, according to the bottommost rule in the brackets, first this will be evaluated. So 10 value will be assigned to y. Okay, so 10 value will be assigned to y. This value becomes 10. So value of 10 already assigned means whatever the value value that is already present in the 2. Oh, that value that already present in the y is 2. So y is equal to 10 means 10 will be 2 will be overrated with the value 10. So y value will be 10. So this value is 10, this value is 10, 10 plus 10 is 20. 20 will value 20 will be saved in the Z. That is about the answer. That is the B. Okay. So next one, int x is equal to 2, y is equal to 2. Float f is equal to y plus x or is equal to x plus x or y. Okay, let it be. Instead of or, I will take as slash divisible by. F is equal to y plus x or equal to x or y. X is equal to y is equal to 2. See, if we concentrate x and 2, x bar y, x y bar is 2 by 2 is 1. Okay, x is equal to, see, if I expand this value will be 1. This value is 1. So x r is means x is equal to x divided by 1. Okay, value of x is 2. So x value is 2. So y plus 2 means 2 plus 2, that is 4. Here is 2, here is 4. So 4 means 2 plus 4. Yes, yes. Nice one. Mahalakshmi, yes, nice. A is the answer. Right. Okay, let's get down to the next one. Int x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2, x and y double equal to 1. Either it's printf true or printf false. Okay. just don't concentrate on this part. This is a previous one. So concentrate on x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2. So 2 double equal to 1, condition is true. Okay, true, y is 1 is true. So the true will be printed. Okay, the true will be printed. Here you can see y is equal to 1 means 2. 2 double equal to 1. 2 is also 1. Please concentrate. No, Anusha, I was wrong. I purposely said true is the correct answer. Here you can see 2 double equal to 1 means 2 is also 2, whether 2 is not equal to 1, it is not equal to 1 means it is 0. Value of this 2 double equal to 1 is 0. So this becomes 0. So x is equal to 1. Value is 1. So 1 double and 0. 1 double and 0 means this whole thing becomes 0 means false. So false means the false will be printed. Okay. Please concentrate and answer. I am purposefully saying the wrong ones. Okay. So this one. How many times the printf will be executed? Yes, hurry up. How many times the printf will be executed? X is equal to 0, x is less than or equal to 15, x plus plus. How many times? This 16 times. No. Good try, Mahalakshmi, good try. This printf is there in the else only. How many times the printf will be executed? Five. No. This printf will be executed 0 times. This printf will be executed 0 times. Since the time is less, I'll be telling you the answer. Since this printf will be executed 0 times. Why means x is less than or equal to 15 means this whatever this condition is there. Okay, don't concentrate on this. Okay, don't concentrate on this because this printf is after the printf. Okay, this is outside the printf means here if the x is less than 5, if x is less than 5, then the then continue. Continue means these statements will be skipped, else will be skipped. Okay. Can you concentrate? If I say x is less than 5 means this continue means this set of statements will be skipped. Okay. Till 5, this set of statements will be skipped. After 5, what happens? This break, what it will do? It will force the control to go out of the loop. That's why only 0 times will be executed. Okay. Hope I am clear. I will be uploading the videos. You can look into it afterwards. Okay, so x is equal to 0, x is less than or equal to 15, x plus plus. How many times the printf will be executed? 9th one. How many times? X is 0, x is less than or equal to 15, x plus plus. Actually, there is this is a tricky part. Since there is a semicolon, 0 times will be executed. Okay, there is a semicolon here. So, sorry, only 1 time will be executed. Okay, sorry, 0 times will be executed. Since this is a tricky part. Okay. Since there is a semicolon here, this loop will be skipped. So which of the following correctly shows the hierarchy of the arithmetic operations? Okay. According to the Bottomos rule, you can see that C1, this one is the correct answer. Bottomos, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Okay. So next one, associative of the unary operator. Okay. It is of the form. Associative means if it is a unary operator, it goes from right to left. A is the correct answer. Next one, size of it is an unary operator. Okay, size of means it is an unary operator. Whatever I am showing you these questions are from the campus questions. Okay, I have picked up from the previous Infosys questions. Okay, previous in the past 2-3 months there was an TCS Infosys interview. I have taken from these questions from there. Okay, you can have a look into the these questions. Okay, I will be sending you the presentation. Hope I have made clear. So in the tomorrow the placement training will be continued. Thank you for your time. Okay, thank you.